Welcome to Saturday's second video for you. Firstly, we'll have a look at some rumors and unconfirmed reports being shared that Ethiopian army is being mobilized towards Tigray. Is there any movement on the ground? Today, Ethiopian National Defense Force shared some pictures which are being seen as indicative of movement of Ethiopian National Defense Force for another military offensive on Tigray. We have pictures for you, we'll talk about that. Secondly, 28 Amhara diaspora organizations from Europe, US, Canada have written a letter to the mediators who are trying to resolve conflict, who are trying to kickstart talks between Tigray and Ethiopian federal governments. What are the concerns of these 28 Amhara diaspora organizations? They are demanding withdrawal of Tigray forces from Raya. Thirdly, viewers, it seems that the two parties to conflict, Tigray regional government and Ethiopian federal government, they have taken some new positions on Western Tigray, which is a core issue yet to be resolved, and it is one of the main obstacles to resolution of this conflict. Yesterday, Getachew talked to Bloomberg, and he talked about Western Tigray, and Tigray government took a very rigid position on Western Tigray. And today, Lagasse Tolo, Ethiopian communication minister, also spoke about Western Tigray. What are the positions taken by the two parties regarding this core issue? It seems that instead of making any progress towards the resolution of this crisis, some tough and very difficult to negotiate positions have been adopted by both the parties. We'll detail look at this development. Firstly, viewers, since last night we have been hearing rumors. Unconfirmed reports are being shared that Ethiopian National Defense Force is being mobilized towards Tigray. And several news outlets, mostly local news outlets, they are making these claims. People are asking me as well, Sajid, what is your view on that? Is there any movement on the ground? Firstly, when militaries mobilize, they don't disclose their plans. Whenever it happens, wherever it happens, militaries don't disclose their mobilization plans. It's difficult to get any information from the ground. I have not seen any footages, any pictures showing large-scale mobilization of Ethiopian National Defense Force towards Tigray from afar, from Gondar, from places like Sikota and from western part of Tigray towards Shiraro. I have not seen any pictures, videos so far. Without evidence, it's difficult to say what is happening on the ground. But Ethiopian National Defense Force is already deployed to Tigray's border areas. There is massive deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force in Western Tigray. If a new war breaks out, Western Tigray would be a main front. And there is already deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force there. And when Tigray said 2 days ago that its positions in Dadabet were attacked by Ethiopian National Defense Force, Tigray said ENDF used heavy weapons, tanks, artillery pieces. It means there is deployment of ENDF with all heavy weapons in Western Tigray. In Tigray, Amhara border areas as well, there is already deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force. Why? Because you know that a few weeks ago, Ethiopian National Defense Force tried to take the matters into its own hands in Western Tigray. It told Fano militia members and Amhara special forces to leave Volkai Sagade. And some Fano groups and some Amhara special force units, they were told to withdraw. They withdrew from Western Tigray towards Gondar. And after that, some Fano factions, they tried to enter Volkayat by force from Gondar, but they were stopped. It means there was deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force on Gondar, Western Tigray border areas, Gondar, Salamati border areas. And we know that a Minilik Brigade Fano commander Athene was arrested while he was on his way from Gondar towards Volkayat. And he remained in prison for around 2 months. He was released just a few days ago. So there is already deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force in Salamati, Gondar border areas, and in Raya as well, on Raya front too, from where some Fano factions were told to move back from border areas. So there is already very heavy deployment of Ethiopian National Defense Force around Tigray. So maybe a new mobilization is not necessary for a military offensive on Tigray. That's my analysis. But obviously, if war breaks out, we could see some mobilization, some movement of ENDF from some other areas of Ethiopia towards Tigray. Secondly, Ethiopian National Defense Force today shared some pictures on its social media page. One picture. The picture, when you have a look at this picture, it seems as if it is about mobilization. As if Ethiopian National Defense Force is on its way for an operation. Have a look at this picture. This is the picture which was shared by ENDF today. And with this picture, there is a message for ENDF's military command that Ethiopian National Defense Force officers should behave themselves as fathers behave in a family. They shouldn't be drunkards. They should take care of their subordinates. And at the end of this message, Ethiopian National Defense Force says that all should be ready for sacrifice to thwart the bad intentions of enemies. So, can we say on the basis of this picture that ENDF is telling its junior, senior officers to be ready for another military offensive? It could be a message, though there is no mention of any mobilization. But the picture is indicative of the fact that the Ethiopian National Defense Force is making preparations. It has been making preparations for months. It has been saying that it is recruiting new soldiers, it is buying new weapons, trainings have been underway. So, you can say that Ethiopian National Defense Force has been on alert even after the announcement of truce this year in March. So, if a new military offensive on Tigray started, perhaps we wouldn't see large-scale mobilization of ENDF towards Tigray because ENDF is already encircling Tigray. But again, we are watching closely what is happening on the ground. If people have information from the ground, they can share it with us, with me, sajid672000@gmail.com. Secondly, was 28 Amhara diaspora organizations have written a letter to mediators who are trying to kickstart talks between Ethiopian federal government and Tigray regional government. These 28 Amhara organizations are mainly based in Europe, North America, and they have shared their concern, their reservations against upcoming talks due to start but could not start in recent days between Tigray regional government and Ethiopian federal government. Amhara Association of America and other organizations are part of the 28 organizations which wrote a letter to firstly Obasanjo, secondly Mike Hammer, US Special Envoy, thirdly Annette Weber, EU Special Envoy, fourthly Sarah Montgomery, UK Special Envoy, Zoe Bing, a Chinese Special Envoy. This letter is addressed to these people, and copies have been submitted, forwarded to African Union, UN. What is this letter about? Amhara organizations say that they are not being represented in talks, that Amhara ethnic group is not being represented in talks, though Ethiopian government announced 7-member committee of negotiators has at least 3 Amharas, 3 or 4, and the committee is led by Damake Mekonnen, who is from the Amhara region. But Amhara Association say that these people who are part of the 7-member committee are working for Oromo Prosperity Party, Oromia Prosperity Party. They are not working for the interests of Amhara people. So Amhara people are unrepresented in the talks. And 5 demands have been shared by these organizations with mediators. Their first demand is that Tigray forces they must withdraw from Amhara region's territories before the start of talks from Raya. They say Koram, Alamata, it's part of Amhara, and Salamati. And TDF must withdraw from these territories, then talks should start. Secondly, they are demanding inclusion of ethnic Amharas in the talks. Thirdly, they want participation of civil society organizations to be part of talks. Fourthly, they say that adequate budget should be allocated for Volkayat, and there must be resumption of basic services in Volkayat Salamati. And lastly, they say that a ongoing crackdown on Fano and Amhara activists, Amhara politicians must come to an end. They claim that 13,000 ethnic Amharas have been arrested by Ethiopian PM Abiy's government, and they have rejected this government as representative of Amhara region. They say that this government of PM Abiy does not have the mandate to lead the talks, because the government is not consulting parliament. Government is just consulting Prosperity Party, which is the government itself. It is not taking parliamentarians on board regarding the peace process. That is why ethnic Amharas should be made part of these talks. Let's see. There are divisions, we know, in the Amhara region since the start of military operation by Ethiopian federal government, Amhara regional government against Fano, against some other groups in the Amhara region. So even if talks succeed between Tigray and Ethiopian federal government, these groups in the Amhara region, they'll reject these talks, but they're not in a strong position in Ethiopia. Majority of those Amhara leaders who matter, who have influence, who have following, they are with the government. Again, you have Tishag, good speaker, then Damake Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister, others, they have been in power for years, by the way. Damake has been working with the Tigrayans, with Oromos, and he is acceptable to all, perhaps. So, he has worked with EPRDF, he is now working with PP party. So these ethnic Amharas, they know how to fit in with the new governments. And the Amhara organizations want to sideline these Amharas who have been in power for years. But it's difficult to sideline them. They are part of the government. They'll continue being part of the government. Lastly, viewers, it seems that some new positions, rigid positions are being taken by Tigray regional government and Ethiopian federal government about Western Tigray. Amhara Volkait Sagade, which is one of the disputed areas, and one of the obstacles to resolve Tigray conflict peacefully is this area. Will it be part of Amhara or will it be part of Tigray? That remains to be seen. Both regions have their claims to this territory. Yesterday, Gata Choreda talked to an international news outlet. I think he talked to Bloomberg. And there he said that there must be resumption of basic services in Tigray before the start of talks. And secondly, he added, he said, there must be withdrawal of all invading forces from Western Tigray before the start of talks. Now, this second position, which now is being shared by Tigray as a precondition, is very dangerous. TDF wants withdrawal of all forces from Western Tigray before the start of talks. It is not likely to happen. TDF has been saying that it will take back Western Tigray. Tigray has been saying that it will take back Western Tigray. Western Tigray is non-negotiable. But now Tigray is saying no talks. There must be withdrawal of all forces from Western Tigray first. Resumption of basic services as well. In response to this new condition, I see it as a new precondition because emphasis of Tigray government in recent days and weeks was on one precondition, and that is resumption of basic services in Tigray. Now a second precondition has been added. Then today, Federal Communication Minister Lagasse Tolo spoke about this precondition of Tigray regional government. What did he say? He said, the issue of Western Tigray, its future status, will be decided at Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission, which was established by the parliament, which were rejected by all major opposition parties like OFC, OLF, ONLF, Baldiras, Tigray People Liberation Front, OLA, not a political party, a group, but all these groups and parties rejected the National Dialogue Commission of Ethiopia created a few months ago. Ethiopian government says issue of Western Tigray will be settled at this commission. It means the two sides are taking very rigid positions about Western Tigray. If National Dialogue Commission of Ethiopia will make the final decision, it means that till final decision, Ethiopian National Defense Force will not withdraw from Western Tigray. And how long will it take for the Dialogue Commission to make a decision? It is not clear. So, instead of making some progress towards start of talks, the two sides have taken new positions about Western Tigray, and the new positions will further delay the start of talks. Tensions will rise more. The two sides are not showing any flexibility, which could be a positive sign. Only positive development which we have seen in recent days or weeks is that aid delivery to Tigray has improved. Some fuel deliveries as well have been seen arriving in Tigray. Otherwise, on core issues like resumption of basic services, like Western Tigray, no progress has been made. With every passing day, the two parties are they're adopting very rigid positions on these thorny issues. Thank you for watching.